morning. It's a pleasure to welcome you here to the Commission, and we once again want to thank you for honoring our invite and coming here today. The Commission today would like to issue a statement on the status of human rights and elections in the run-up to the August polls. Pursuant to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights mandate of promoting and protecting human rights, the Commission has traditionally monitored the process since 2005. In the 2022 general election, the Commission has put in place mechanisms and systems for monitoring the compliance to human rights principles, and the Commission monitored the 2022 political parties nominations exercise that was carried out between the 1st and 22nd of April 2022. From its findings, the Commission noted that all the 29 political parties that were monitored majorly relied on consensus and zoning, as opposed to political parties members voting to nominate their candidates for the forthcoming August polls. Owing to this consultative manner of nominating candidates, the Commission has noted a shift in how the political parties are conducting their affairs. There has been a drop in campaign activities, with most of the candidates leveraging on the political parties' coalitions and alliances campaign trails to garner support. In its monitoring processes, the Commission continues to document human rights issues and their impact on a free, fair, and credible 2022 general election. The following are some of the documented salient issues that we are concerned about. The first one is freedom and security of persons. The Commission has documented the issue of insecurity in various parts of the country, including the counties of Lamu, Garissa, Marsabit, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Mandera, Nakuru, Turkana, and West Pokot. In view of this, the political rights to vote and be voted for, as provided under Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya, as well as other rights like the right to association, assembly, movement, and expression, will be greatly impacted if insecurity persists. The documented insecurity has also resulted in a reduction of campaign activities in the affected areas. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has to date recorded a total of 24 cases of violence, out of which 20 cases were perpetrated during political parties' nomination exercise and 4 cases during the current political campaigns. Further, the Commission has documented 4 cases of killings perpetrated in the context of elections in Nairobi, Kisii, Baringo, and West Pokot counties. Following a fact-finding mission by the Commission in the counties along the Kerio Valley belt in the Rift Valley region, the Commission notes with concern there is an ongoing displacement and involuntary movement of persons out of the affected areas, with the potential of affecting the voting patterns and the ability of the citizenry to cast their votes. The Commission further notes that as the political activities heighten, there is a corresponding spike in criminal activities. At this juncture, the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights wishes to condemn in the strongest terms possible the recent targeted sexual violence and killings of women in the Bahati area, Nakuru County. Despite the above findings of insecurity, the Commission commends the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government and the Office of the Inspector General for their swift action in curbing instances of insecurity across the country. Further, the Commission is in the process of investigating reported trends of violence in other parts of the country, and it shall be sharing its findings with the relevant duty bearers for timely action and accountability. The second right we looked at was the right to life, and as I stated earlier above, the Commission is greatly concerned on cases of killings that have allegedly been perpetrated in the context of elections. A total of 4 cases of killings have been documented in Nairobi, Kisii, Baringo, and West Pokot counties. In Nairobi, a man was allegedly killed by a civilian in Mathare North area as he distributed campaign materials in February 2022. In April, in Bombambu area of Kisii County, an aspirant for the MCA seat was attacked in his home by unknown assailants, and he also passed away. In May, there was a banditry attack at the border of Marakwet and Baringo East that resulted in the death of a primary school teacher. These are just a few of the documented cases that we have of the killings that have been arising around elections. The other issue we've looked at is the issue of inducement and undue influence of voters. We all know that this is a crime under Section 9 of the Election Offences Act. The Commission has recorded cases of candidates who have been distributed branded merchandise and giveaways during the nomination exercises, camouflage campaign relief food, and open distribution of money during political campaign activities. The Commission has to date documented 149 cases of inducement and undue influence observed in the counties of Nairobi, Nakuru, Kakamega, Kericho, Kiambu, Kilifi, Machakos, and Vihiga. Out of these, 11 cases stem from the political party's nomination exercise. On the misuse of public resources, Section 14 of the Election Offences Act bars the use of public resources in political activities by aspirants and candidates or any other person. The Commission continues to document use of public resources by aspirants and candidates during campaigns, this giving them an undue advantage over others. The Commission further notes with concern the use of government-registered vehicles and public-funded programs such as the Women Empowerment Fund and the Constituency Development Fund in campaigns, contrary to the Election Offences Act. The Commission has documented 47 cases of misuse of public resources. When it comes to special interest groups, the Commission has equally received the unsettling reports of harassment and intimidation of female aspirants during the political party's nominations and the current campaign period. These range from online bullying, physical assault, and sexual violence. The Commission has also documented cases of alleged attacks and injuries to the female aspirants and their supporters. In relation to gender representation, the Commission still notes that the country will be conducting the third general election under the 2010 Constitution without a mechanism that secures the 2/3 gender representation at the National Assembly and Senate for women. Despite the proactive attempt by the IEBC to compel political parties to adhere to the 2/3 gender rule when submitting their list of candidates, the Commission notes with concern the ruling by the High Court suspending the same till 2027. The Commission has also observed and documented the disruption of learning activities that has allowed school students to participate in political events such as singing for politicians and moving out of schools to cheer politicians by the roadside, among others. The Commission further notes the potential dangers of engaging children in political activities, including violence and exposure to derogatory language exhibited by some of the politicians. To this extent, the Commission has documented 101 cases of use of children in political activities and disruption of learning activities, with the highest prevalence recorded in Nairobi, Kiambu, Kilifi, Mombasa, and Nyamira. We also looked at attacks on the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and other oversight bodies. In establishing constitutional commissions and independent offices, the Constitution envisaged a cushion and independent checks and balances on the adherence to the rule of law. It therefore becomes a concern when these institutions become targets of both institutional and individual attacks. In this regard, the Commission considers unfortunate the blatant and scathing attacks on the IEBC and the EACC and other election monitoring bodies. Specifically, it is in the public purview that there have been blatant, scathing attacks and issuing of threats to EACC officials for not clearing prospective aspirants due to their non-conformity to sound integrity issues enshrined in Chapter 6 of the Constitution. In view of the above, the Commission recommends and calls to action as follows. We call on the IEBC to inspire public confidence through continuous updates on the status of preparedness towards the 2022 general election and beyond. Further, the Commission calls upon the IEBC to step up efforts and enhance voter education so that members of the public can meaningfully engage in the electoral processes. To the National Police Service and other security agencies, we urge them to continue the efforts of building the capacity of national police officers in election security management, including the dissemination of the Election Security Management Manual for police commanders and enhanced training for police officers in crowd control management. Further, the Inspector General is urged to continue to undertake swift response in containing insecurity, undertaking timely investigations, and incorporating a rights-based approach in police operations and deployment. On this, we note the manner in which a citizen was handled yesterday by security agencies in an IEBC meeting, and we call for better handling of citizens even when they are disrupting the peace. To the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, we urge them to take urgent action to enforce the Election Offences Act and prompt prosecution and redress of human rights violations and abuse arising from these elections. In conclusion, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights reiterates that the political electioneering process should focus towards the promotion and protection of human rights, and that all the institutions charged with various mandates and responsibilities should work towards realization on this way. In the remaining phase towards the 9th August polls, the Commission urges members of the public to observe and maintain peace and respect rule of law during the campaigns. By all means, members of the public must shun violence and other unruly acts, such as the destruction of competing aspirants' properties, campaign posters, and the disruption of rallies. I thank you all.
I wanted you to tell us, so the police have been central to human rights violations in 2017. I think it was a report from your office that showed many of the people who died during the violence was from police injustice. And this was also witnessed during the COVID-19 period, during the enforcement of the curfew. So what kind of measures have you put, or what work have you done together with the police service to kind of ensure that those violations are not repeated in 2022? Then you talked about, you have information on 47 cases where public officials are using public funds to run the campaigns. Give us those details as well. And you can also confirm if the top presidential aspirants are subject to those cases. And lastly, my question is, I think you can answer those two for now.
Thank you very much for those questions, KTN News. With regard to the 2017 cases on insecurity and improper handling of citizens by security agencies. Our report indeed captured those incidences, and we share the reports with relevant duty bearers. And flowing from that, a lot of work has gone into training the security sector in the last 5 years on proper crowd control and handling of citizens during times of emergency. This culminated in the development of guidelines on how to handle citizens and how to manage crowds and to control crowds during emergencies. I think this has gone a long way in seeing a reversal in the manner in which security agencies are trying to handle crowds in this election. I think you will agree with me that there's much better response now than there was in 2017. Although, of course, it takes a long time to make change in an entire institution. So we work with them as we go, but there has been change and there has been training. When it comes to misuse of state resources, that data will be released. We'll soon be launching our report on the party primaries, where the exact data and names and incidences will be recorded and stated. I'm not at liberty to share that today with you, but the most we can tell you is yes, we are monitoring misuse of state resources. There is concern about misuse of state resources. What we have captured today is 47 cases. Some of them have been reported through your media, which we have captured as well, and we will be reporting on that extensively in our report, if you allow me to leave it there for now. Thank you.
Agenda from Lord TV, and you included Garissa, Marsabit, Mandera, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Nakuru among the places that need to be added in the more security. The question is, we've seen what Nakuru would have been happening in Nakuru, but my question is, how is it politically connected to election violence?
Thank you. You're asking how Nakuru is connected to the elections. We have not said conclusively that Nakuru is connected to the elections, but we are saying it is occurring within the election context because it is occurring during the election period. Our observation and monitors on the ground tell us there's a lot of fear in the ground in Nakuru. There's a lot of people moving out. There's a lot of internal displacement taking place. So we are still not sure whether the killings are connected to all this. But there's a state of fear in that area. There's a state of insecurity in the area. And as for now, within the election context, we are reading it to see, we are looking into it to see whether there is a connection. But we have not conclusively connected it to politics. Thank you.
A question.
Yes, sir.
My name is Knchr from Knchr. You've mentioned of 101 cases of children involvement in politics. Probably, are there recommendations that you have and to specific bodies or actions that should be taken against those who are offended?
Yes. Thank you for that from K24. When it comes to school children being used in politics, this concern has been raised from our monitors in the ground, and the issue has been taken up not just with IBC, but also with the Ministry of Education, with the Cabinet Secretary. We are asking them to look into this and take action because it actually offends the rights of the children to education. It actually interferes with their rights in school. And this is something we are taking very, very seriously. We are going to be engaging further on this with some of the duty bearers in the next week.
Possibly just to continue what you're saying, can you give us the ages of, you have data on how old are these children and what other activities are they involved in? You talked about some who are singing, what other activities are they involved in?
Well, okay. Most of the activities of singing and they come and sing praise songs for the politicians, and they're actually engaged to undertake this. The age group is primary school and there's secondary school. So I think it moves from across like 10 years to 16 years. You could say that, yeah. So we have primary schools involved, we have secondary schools involved. Now, the other incidents we've seen is because when the politicians move around, they move around with vehicles that are very loud and blaring, loud music. So it attracts learners from their classes to the fences to come and observe. And some of this happens because they believe there will be handouts, and we talked about undue influence. So sometimes they run there because they hope to get some of these handouts. And that's why we're also raising the issue of bribery and undue influence, because it goes hand in hand with having schools' children right to education being affected. So thank you very much. If there are no other questions, I want to thank you all for your time, and thank you for your partnership, and we hope to continue to engage. We shall soon be launching our report on the political parties' primaries, and we shall ask for your presence again as we do so. Asante sana na mbarikiwe.